This is Kenny Clark, and this is Lombardi's Bar.
This is one of my favorite podcasts to do.
I'm just, blessed and thankful to be a part of this podcast. It's a great podcast. It's a great interview.
Maybe I know that you guys obviously being the best Packers podcast that's out there.
I had Malort this weekend, so I'm not tasting anything.
Oh, good.
He did.
God.
He did. That was fantastic.
Because it said, "Did you ever try Malort?" And I said, "No." And then it said, "Do you want to take a shot of Malort?" I said, "No," but I did.
Wait, who said
It's called peer pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried getting a high honors English class once, and they called my parents and were like, "Hey, just tell him he can't do it."
It shows. It really shows. I hate you guys so much.
I'm going to throw these two guys into the screen so that if I die, they can carry on the legacy of crap that is this show. Welcome in, Green Bay Packer fans, to another edition of Lombardi's Bar here on the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us, particularly Emma, Corey K in the chat. Welcome in, guys. If you are new to the show and you haven't done so already, take a second to go over, hit subscribe, like on the YouTube page so you get notified every time that we go live here at the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel. Iowa Joe, Jay in the chat. Welcome, everybody. Before we get started, make sure we get this out of the way right now. A big, huge happy birthday to one Mr. Matt Pickett. Not at the show today. We gave him the day off from the bar to go celebrate, but it would not feel right here at the bar if we did not wish producer Matty P. Pickett himself a happy birthday. So happy birthday, Matt. If you see Matt trolling around on the Packer Twitterverse, make sure you say hi. Iowa Joe, I am not stoned. I am just enjoying a beautiful, fresh, cool Miller Lite out of my championship mug because I am celebrating. It's back to the glory days, baby. One win. It's got me turned all the way around. Let's bring these two guys in here. It's Todd Varney, Jimmy Christensen. Boys, are you feeling as good as I am after Monday or Sunday, whenever that game was?
No, apparently not. No,
Yeah, I don't have a chain.
A victory chain, mind you.
It's beautiful.
It only comes out for the victories. That's why I haven't seen it much this year.
I still think you got it from Kid Rock.
They passed those out on January 6th. As they walked in, that was their door prize to everybody.
It's like the guys you see selling like the knockoff swag outside of like the sporting events. It's just like some guy with a cart and he's like, get your swag. You can't get it's gonna be $20 more inside the Capitol. How you doing, boys?
I'm in Florida mode, so I'm great.
I forgot that Jimmy was back. I got to take my preventative Tylenol for dealing with his shit now.
Yeah. Take a Xanax while you're at it. Just really, really double down.
I don't have a headache. I'm just preparing for one. Man, I had a conversation with some family after the game on Sunday. I think came to the realization that this is going to kind of be what Packer wins feel like moving forward.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to feel like it's never going to feel very. How do I want to say this? I don't know if it's ever going to feel good for a while. It's never going to. I don't think it's ever going to be like week one was an outlier. It's all going to be.
It's
like
not
stress-induced heart attacks.
Well, and it's not a position that we're accustomed to being in, and that
Sure.
like, oh, cool, we won. Shit, can we still get a top 5 draft pick?
Mm-hmm.
We're honest. Someone put it on Twitter too, but like, this year's going to be just like the Steelers. Like when the Steelers win, they're ugly wins because their offense is. You have Kenny Pickett as your quarterback and Najee Harris, who's not a real person anymore. Random splash plays from George Pickens, and then like that's our offense. Love will make some plays here and there. Watson will have a great catch, break 3 parts of his body after that, and then our defense, because as Todd said, extend Joe Barry will do enough to stick around. But they're going to be ugly wins. Honestly, there's going to be so many mistakes, even when we win that, like, you're going to be happy you won, but in the back of your mind, it's like, this team is not even close to being good yet.
Here, I want to clarify here. A win always feels good.
Oh yeah, you're pumped about it for sure.
I felt great.
Sorry, Todd, did you
on
shrug?
Sunday.
Yeah, I did. I want to see him progress, but at this point, like,
Isn't a win progress though?
No.
These guys can look good without winning, and the more they win, like I said, the further we stray from the light of that top 5.
No, I have to then send you the same clip we posted last year when Dan said, "Is it even worth making the playoffs?" And you went on this thing and ended with,
Okay,
that's fucking
hold on,
Bears
hold on.
mentality.
That is completely different because we had Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, which if Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, and that was my point last year.
We did not have Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. We had the shell of a man formerly known as Aaron Rodgers at quarterback.
If Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, you have a chance to get hot and something special to happen. That's the difference between last year and this year. So you can bring that clip up all you want, Jimmy. It's not relevant to the situation.
Todd took that personally.
It's the same thing.
Don't come at me.
I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying.
Don't come on me.
That one I can't promise.
Not
But
here.
I'm going to come at
I
you.
don't want to be around. No, I think here's the thing. It always feels good to win. But yes, Todd, I agree with you in the back of your mind. You're also thinking like, well, like it would be nice at the end of the year because like I thought, in that year, was it 2017, 2018 when they fired McCarthy? Everyone talked about like some of those wins at the end of the year, like that overtime win in New York against the Jets. And it's like, oh, that feels great. Like it's like, yeah, like the games and the moments, they feel great. They feel good to win in those times. But it's the same thing as like looking back on Run the Table. Run the Table was a great story. It felt really great in the moment. And I think back on it with some fond memories. And I really enjoyed listening back to Colin Cowherd sounding like a complete total prick that he was so wrong about that team. But from a practical standpoint, it would have been so much better for them not to run the table and shut down Rodgers for the year or something.
Because Todd was just saying, if you have Rodgers, you want to get hot. So you guys are kind of on the same page, but not really.
I wasn't listening to anything that was just being said. I'm with Corey. Like 4 wins is tops.
What's the
Giants, Panthers, and Bears are the wins that I see we've got left. Vikings, maybe.
Or toss up.
Steelers are a maybe. And then you've got Buccaneers, Chargers, Lions, and Chiefs.
Game.
I think you can beat the Bucks.
Have you guys watched this team this year? They lost to the fucking Denver Broncos and to the Raiders.
I'm going to be this person that
Don't tell me that
Raiders just look great against the Giants and
against
Broncos beat the Chiefs.
The Giants. Let me
Super
see.
Champions.
Yep, I've got them down as a win. I'm as bad as this team has been.
I know.
That's a win.
No, it's going to be.
The NFL is a week-to-week league, man.
If we just get rolling, like there has been progress. I'm going to take that back. There was progress this week in some areas. We scored a first half touchdown.
We did do that.
We got 20 points for the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to be positive, but it's not all bad, but it's definitely not good.
It's not good.
No, it's not. But I don't know. How do you guys, before we go into that, like Jordan Love right now, evaluation, where do you feel on him? Are we going to be looking at quarterbacks to replace him in the draft, or is it all? No. It should still all be propped up.
No, and I think all signs coming out of the organization, like Jordan's their guy. They're all saying they've seen what they need to see, and I know they're going to give us, a lot of coach speak on that. But again, if you take half of the drops away against the Vikings, right? Like that's a completely different performance on his part. You saw what he did this week. Like he looked pretty good, especially in the second half. I think he's progressing week to week. And as long as the guys around him continue to progress, I think he's going to be fine.
What do you think that second half thing is, though? Do you think it is he's getting momentum and gaining confidence as the game goes along? Or do you think it's Matt LaFleur's changing play calling or changing, just letting him kind of rip it more in the second half, that we're seeing that kind of jump within him and the offense?
It's hard to say. I'm not sure. It legitimately might be we've got nothing to lose at this point. Like some of that pressure kind of comes off. And I don't know if it's necessarily Matt calling things differently or if it's just a difference in attitude of fuck it, let it fly.
You know, I look at this and I think if you, I think a lot of what's going on with this team, and Matt pointed it out, is this team just keeps constantly shooting themselves in the foot offensively.
Yeah.
And if you take away half of those mistakes, like you said, Jimmy, the drop passes, you take away drive killing penalties. You know, look at the Dolphins Chiefs game this past week in Germany. You know, they talked whoever it was it Runyon or Sean Ryan that talked about the Packers looking like the Dolphins. The Dolphins looked like the Packers, and it was mostly because they couldn't get anything rhythmically going on offense. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. They kept getting in their own way. This offense is so young; they're making so many mistakes that it just can't get out of its own way. And so I think that some of the problems, we overblow it a little bit. I do think some of it is on Matt, because I think that stuff needs to be kind of trimmed down for these guys to pick up on it, learn on it. But we saw this past game, when this offense can work properly and not be in 3rd and 12s or 3rd and 15s, they can do it. And Jordan Love is a part of that. And I think that he still has some way to go in terms of being a full-blown NFL above average quarterback. But man, I don't see how you invest. Like, if you are coming into this draft right now, the Packers sit at 7th in the order. I don't see how you can go into this draft and say, we're going to invest a high top 10 draft pick possibly in another quarterback without having seen another season of a second season of Jordan Love, how he progresses after a full season.
Well, and Goody, I mean, we've talked about it a number of times. He had to change his plan, the course he had envisioned for this team. He's not going to draft another quarterback high in the first round and change that course. He knows he needs to see this through. Right. And Jordan hasn't shown anything that you're like, this kid can't play in the NFL.
Right. Even just for optics, kind of building on what you said there, Todd, if they drafted, let's say it's Caleb Williams, if they drafted Caleb Williams, you might as well move Jordan Love out of here right now, because if Jordan Love sneezes wrong, the media, the fans will be begging you to put in the new kid.
If they take anyone top 7, top 5, they're going to send Jordan Love out. There's no way they ride that out. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Packers are probably the one organization that would, but that wouldn't make sense too. But with Love, you see the arm talent, the decision making's in there. We've seen it again. We've mentioned already the drops last week. The one area of concern is really just the deep shots. That still hasn't been there, timing could be a thing. I think Dusty put it out there. He likes to moonball a lot of them instead of putting it on a rope to get to the players. And that stuff can definitely change, and he'll get there, hopefully. But yeah, no, I'm with you guys. I think Love has shown enough to be an average starter. Definitely, he won't lose you games, but hopefully he can get to the point where he's going to be the reason that you win some. Because that's that sweet spot. If you have a team around him, that's a Super Bowl team. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I don't think they have to do. It's going to be a lot of offensive line and secondary, I think, in this upcoming draft.
Yeah, there's too many question marks.
Absolutely,
And
Jeff. I wouldn't know anything about it, but yeah, I've heard.
There's too many other question marks around Jordan Love, where if he had a top 10 offensive line, he had Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard or something like that.
Let's not put those two in the same conversation, but yeah.
Well, but guys who are established veterans know the offense. That's guys that have proven they can go out there and do it. If you basically just take this same team from 2 years ago, to replace just everything else remaining constant, flip out the quarterbacks, Jordan Love and this team look completely different. But this is not that team. All right, let's jump into this here a little bit more with our buy around segment here. Who do we want to buy around for this week, gentlemen? Todd, why don't we kick it off with you, buddy? Who are you buying around for?
Yeah, I'll go with my best friend Tom Grassi, getting the nominee as Packer Fan of the Year. Jimmy, you were there. You saw the friendship bond. I'd say
acquaintances at best, but friends.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a jealous human like you are too.
Yeah, I'm super jealous and super petty. I'll own that. I'm not going to deny that.
What does your therapist say about that lately?
Don't do it, and I say sorry.
But yeah, shout out to Tom. That's awesome. Jimmy, we discussed it while we were up there. We got a chance to see how hard that dude works.
Yeah.
It's insane. And to be a fan of something and to do it that way, like it's crazy. So shout out to him buying around for him here at the bar.
Yeah. No, he works harder than, like I said to you, I definitely said to you, Todd, like if that's what it takes to do like well with this stuff, I don't have it in me.
The three of us combined don't have
I don't think I work. I don't think I work as hard at my full-time big kid job as Tom Grassi works at what he does for this. Not to say that it's not a real job, but he works much harder at doing all of that than I've worked at like literally any other 9-to-5 job that I think I've ever had.
1,000%.
Not me. If my boss watching Mikey, what up? I bust it all day, every day. So
that's a good point.
We literally called Todd the Tom Grassi of whatever field Todd works in.
Yep.
No one knows. He's like the Chandler, RIP on Friends.
Shout out to the king.
Pour one out. Actually, don't. That's what got him. But
I'll also buy. So Todd buys around. I'll buy a shot for Tom because you need it after I whoop that ass in fantasy this week, Tom. Anyway,
that was aggressive.
Around for.
You want me to? Okay. I'm actually going with Matt LaFleur for two reasons. One, that play to get the kind of the game clinching touchdown, that two kind of fake screens and then Musgrave right in the middle was that was what you expect from Matt LaFleur. And again, I know he's had to dumb down the offense because of the young team around him, but being able to see those glimpses of when he gets his offensive mind going, just like what can kind of come up, was great. And then the second one was finally, for this first time, not lying to us about cutting Aaron Jones loose. Jones got over 20 plus touches, 99 yards, a touchdown. He said he was going to use him, finally used him, and we saw what happened. A better offense, and finally
what fucking win happens.
Yeah, exactly.
That I could not believe that stat when they threw that. When I was like looking back on it, it's like he hit 9 carries, and he's tied his season high of carries in a game. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I had to go like check. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's insane. No, that touchdown play, that made me get a little tingle in my downtown Tinseltown. That was what I legitimately asked Kelsey. I don't know if she's in the chat or not.
Is she going to say that same phrase you just said?
No, but when they scored that touchdown, I literally jumped up off the couch. I yelled and I looked at Kelsey and I said, "Fuck me up, Daddy." That was awesome. Matt, that play is so sexy as hell. Oh my gosh, like I'm getting worked up thinking about it.
I'm about to clip that. Just send it.
Yeah, was that downtown Tinseltown? Is that
Downtown.
Also,
We'll tingle in your downtown Tinseltown.
That one's getting clipped. And I'm going to put it on so many pictures of Donald Trump, and just in the background, it's going to be Dan saying that.
Fuck me up, Daddy.
Oh Jesus.
No, but seriously, I mean that dude.
Oh yeah, but seriously.
Yeah, back to the real stuff.
I mean, that's the kind of shit we've been hoping for. That's the kind of shit that we saw in the first 3 weeks that was working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then the mistakes, that's the problem. Is like there's so many mistakes with this team that they, like we said, they've had to dumb it down.
Yeah.
But then it's like, at what point though what point are the mistakes just the coaching and the discipline, and not that they can't understand the offense and run it right? So that's what this year is. So like I keep saying that, but like I get, this is the year to figure that out. Like we're gonna see, is it the players? Is it the coaching? I don't know, but that, like, just having that glimpse of what it could potentially be if they keep Matt LaFleur around and the talent comes onto that offense, if we start investing in that like we did the defense. Because I do think the defense this year has shown the investments have started to pay off. Like this defensive line has really stepped up. And I think if we start doing that with the offense, like Matt LaFleur can get even more creative and we can see that stuff a lot more, which would be great.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am going to buy around for a guy who I was a little bit hard on the last couple of weeks, and I'm really happy to see what he did this week against. I mean, yes, it's against Brett Ripien, but you're going against two wide receivers in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
That's Carrington Valentine.
Yep.
You know, last week when we talked with Jason, he brought up wanting to see what these players' reaction was going to be after the Rasul Douglas trade. Carrington Valentine came out and acted as if he took it personal. Like he went, like it's like he went and read every single tweet that was said about this team and this defense after Rasul Douglas got traded. And he just read it for 48 hours straight, just scrolling and just like memorized it all. Just to like, he came after every play. He had that look of remember the Titans when they go up against like that racist coach, and the one guy makes like the play and he comes over and like just points right at the coach, and he's just like, "Oh man, I fucked up." That was the eyes that Carrington Valentine had last week. It's like every time he made a play, he's looking at somebody, and I'm just like, I don't want to be the person he's looking at right now because he is pissed the fuck off, and he played like it, and I'm so happy that he did.
He got hyped to the point where I was like, dude, do not get a penalty. Just because like after every pass breakup, he was like, which was great. Like I was happy for him, but it was just in my head, I was like, guys, these refs will call the dumb. We saw Josh Allen pointed at somebody and got a 15-yard. I was like, do not get a taunting penalty because you're excited. But yeah, no, he came out. He dominated, and I think it was the official stats, like 8 targets. He allowed 1 reception for 14 yards. Like that is fantastic for a 7th-round rookie.
So now we know what Todd was doing when he wasn't paying attention.
I was paying attention. I was locked in.
I forgot Ryan Day was in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just slowly gonna keep adding people in there for you.
I just don't understand how none of the Bosa brothers are on the picture. Like, I feel like they should be right next to Dan, arms around him.
And I forgot Ryan Day was there.
He says everyone else makes sense.
Didn't you guys carpool?
Let's jump into to pay the tab now. Flip side here as well. Jimmy, why don't you start us off with this? Who needs to pay the tab after Sunday?
Yeah. I'm going. Sorry, I'm in my parents' room and my mom just came out and just.
I'll tell her, say what's up.
I'll tell her.
She'll know.
What's up?
Mom, Todd says hi.
I said, what's up?
I know, but I'm not doing
Stop.
that. I put on the sheet silly goose things, and it's
Uh-huh.
just like those mistakes that should be prevented. Like the Wicks fumble, then Jones, being the great leader he is, comes, lifts his head up, comforts him, and then the next play to make him feel better, fumbles, so he doesn't feel so bad. It's just those things like that. Like this, as we've said this time, this team isn't good enough to overcome those kind of mistakes. And or even on the first punt of the game, we get a penalty, which puts the offense, which already has been fucking struggling, down to like the 10-yard line. And that happens week after week. These dumb penalties that are just pushing the team back. The John Runyon, I guess the first one, yeah, he was over. But also he even said they told him this week, you can't do that. And he did it twice in a game, which is – I know it's new to you, the lining up. You can't have your head over the ball or whatever the fuck the thing is, over the center's hand. I don't know, whatever. But like these like mistakes that like can be prevented and you're just doing them is just ridiculous. Like our team cannot overcome those things right now. We did this week, but we've seen obviously the last 4 games, we can't overcome it. So to have any chance of being a competent team, you got to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads into mine. I had Matt LaFleur as my pay the tab simply because like leading the league in penalties, granted, sure, they're tied for it. Most of the other teams that have 60 penalties have played 9 games. The Packers have played 8. So the only other team that's played 8 games and has 60 penalties is the Cowboys.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, not a great comp there. But yeah, I mean, they're just like I tweeted it out. In the first half, there were 4 offsides penalties. There are 3. There's one thing that I'm confident the 3 of us can do in a professional game at any of any type, and that's line up pre-snap. We can do that. That's the easiest thing there is to do in sports. 4 times in one half, this team fucked that up. Like, how do you sit there as the coach and go, this is fine. This is, we got some things we got to clean up. We got to work on, we're just out here. We're like, don't give the coach speak on that. Like, figure it out. Why are there constant, and it's not like, it'd be one thing, like I think everyone's always said like a hustle penalty, like a PI call that's just good hands fighting that you're like, shit happens sometimes, or Gary's roughing the passer, like shit like that's gonna happen. But they have so many dumb little penalties. Even Jimmy, your boy, at the end of the game, like they're just trying to run the clock out. Literally just run the clock out, and he gets a holding penalty. Yeah. And you're like, I know it didn't hurt anything in the grand scheme of things, but like, what are you doing as a coaching staff to tell these guys like, hey, don't commit stupid penalties on a regular basis? And it starts at the top with Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, because we even saw that too. Rashawn Gary, 2 plays in a row. He had that face mask, which that one is you are trying to make the play, you reach out, you grabbed it, whatever. Yeah. Then immediately the next play, he gets the sack, but he's offsides. Like that's like you said, that's the thing I don't understand is the basic is just lining up for the play.
Right.
Don't line up ahead of the fucking football. No matter what side of the offense you're on, don't be above that and you're golden. But yeah, it's just that stuff has to be fixed. And that's the thing is like, I feel like that definitely falls more on coaching at some point. Like if you're not drilling that time and time again, really focusing on that, like your dumb shit like this is going to happen.
Now, I completely agree with everything Todd said. You're 100% right on that.
Always, yep.
I do want to leave a small little caveat there because Matt, you could see Matt visibly upset on the sideline after that second offensive offsides penalty. So I think
was he mad at the player and holding him accountable, or was he mad at the ref because he didn't like the call?
We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to that in a minute. But I will say, I think you can point to Rashid Walker getting knocked from the starting lineup as a point of Matt LaFleur trying to hold this team accountable for the mistakes, because who has made more mistakes on that offense this year than Rashid Walker? You know? Like, so I think you do have to give him at least some credit, because he did
like you accountability. So Sean Ryan came in and was playing fine. So after that second penalty, hey, John, go sit down. We're putting Sean back in. Like, you can't line up it on sides. You're right next to the damn ball. It's literally right there. The guy, it's not like you're lined up on the outside and can't see. You're right next to it.
Okay. We're gonna get into mine here then, because those offside penalties are 100% pure, uncut Colombian bullshit.
Way to go at Columbia.
Bullshit, guys.
Rude. Sorry about that, CC.
I was beside myself that Dean Blandino has the balls to come on national TV and be like, well, players have been doing this for pretty much ever since the game was invented, but this year we decided to make it a point of emphasis to change how the game is played. Okay, I can bet you that on 75% of every tush push that Philadelphia runs, there's an offensive offside penalty. Does it ever get called? No, because it's a point of emphasis this year. You know what's not going to be a point of emphasis next year? This. So that same play, if it's run next year, if he lines up, no.
And what it is,
you can give him the first one. The second one,
go ahead. Jimmy, shut up and let the man talk.
Hold on. If you take those exact same two plays, copy paste into next year, they're not fucking called, because the referees are calling games differently. And so what I'm saying is that, yeah, by the technical definition, he might be offside, but that is how he has lined up his whole career, how every offensive lineman lines up. And to call two of them like that in one game, it's a referee, and it's a referee with something to grind. I'm not saying against him, but I got to make these calls. It's a point of emphasis. It was a bad refereeing job all day long by that crew. Those two penalties are complete bullshit, and I hate that the NFL does that, where they, for 1 year, decide to make, well, this is a point of emphasis this year, so we're going to see a spike in these calls. Oh, it'll go away next year.
No, it's not. It's not that it's a point of emphasis this year. I think it's more recent than week one. And it's because they know they don't want to ban the tush push. But what they want to do is make teams think twice about running it and how they're running it. And so if they start calling ticky-tack offsides on this play, then it's going to make teams line up differently and do things differently, and it's going to discourage them from running it. That's what they're trying to do on this one.
Until next year, when they're not doing that anymore.
Well, the one thing is, I'm 100% with you on that first call, but on the second one, when you know, like, oh, they're doing bullshit on this, let's change how. That's the thing, is like, you have to adjust to that at that point.
Hell yeah, Dusty. Let's go.
But you know what? But you know what?
They're going to do that, though. You have to adjust.
But here's the thing. If I'm an offensive lineman, I'm not going to put myself in a disadvantageous position because you're telling me that the way I've lined up this whole season and how I've played football is wrong.
They line up.
You're calling it a penalty now.
They line up.
I'm not gonna say I'll back up an inch to make it. But
they line up. They line up further up than on that play. They have smaller splits and they slide up towards the ball. That's how that play is ran, and what the NFL is trying.
I'm not talking about the tush push, guys. I'm talking.
You're talking about the offside penalties, and that's when they happen.
Push.
Guys, those happened out of a shotgun formation.
Who's the person that does drugs here? Because I'm starting to think it's you.
They
Dan.
happened on 4th and short tush push
Yes,
situation.
No,
both
they
of them.
didn't.
Yes,
Guys,
they
one
did.
of them was in a shotgun. Yes, they did.
No,
you-
you silly goose.
Seriously,
No,
what are you
no,
on
no.
right now?
Guys,
Is your
Bless your heart.
all the
Guys,
blood, all the
no.
blood's in your fucking Tinseltown. We need that
Yeah.
back in the brain.
guys,
Dude.
no.
Somebody in the chat,
They
back
were
us up.
not-
They were
no.
both. They
They
were
were
both.
not both.
Yes, they
One
were in the
was.
same
They were.
exact
One
situation,
was
dude.
no.
They were both in
They were
that
both
situation. Dan.
in a QB sneak on 4th down, and then it turned to 4th and 6, and they had to punt.
Yep, both times.
No. One of
For,
them was
okay, I listen to this argument. For Todd to say I'm correct in this, you know I have to be right.
So, once again,
You're a big dumb idiot.
okay. There we go. Todd is right. Dusty, we got him.
Well, add
on-
me into that one. Add me to
Yep.
that.
So also, yeah, Emma's right. Matt never gets a night off again.
okay.
We need
all right,
him doing the
Fine,
research.
fine. If I concede the
So,
point,
again-
here's the point. It's still a stupid fucking penalty, and it's a
Well,
stupid.
you
It is a
fucking
stupid
rule.
penalty
You have
that
to
shouldn't be
adjust.
made. They told him about it at practice. Hey, make sure you don't line up off sides. And his dumbass went up
But
there
if he-
and lined up
he's
off
not-
sides twice.
But if he is lining up, guys, if you even look at it, somebody came across and said he's not even off sides.
Apparently he was.
Dean Blandino, literally, the weasel himself came on and said, "He's behind every. I don't know what they're calling, but
You
it's a
used
point
Dean
of
Blandino
emphasis."
twice now to make your point, and now again the opposite side.
But that's exactly the point. Dean Blandino is such a shithead and is so in the bag for making sure that the referees are always right. And even he came out and said, well, this call was kind of bullshit, but they're making it a point of emphasis this year, so that's why they called it. That's his verbatim fucking words. And that's
I don't think it's
bullcrap.
verbatim.
That's bullcrap, guys, because they're not going to call
You know
that
what
same
verbatim
play.
means?
Yes.
'Cause I don't think that's verbatim.
Anyway,
But
Dean
nonetheless,
Blandino,
here's the
go
thing.
fuck yourself.
You're lining up differently on that play. You know there's a potential for you to be off sides. So make sure you're not off sides, especially after you get called for it once.
But he did. But that's what I'm saying. He wasn't off sides. It was a bullshit call.
Or was
they're
he? Because let me hold on. Let me just
Dean
check real quick.
Blandino literally said it was bullshit.
The guy that was reffing the fucking game said it was.
loud noises.
You've
That
got
doesn't mean he's fucking right. He doesn't
Okay,
have the
yeah.
camera to look and see he was
so,
wrong.
Oh no. Was Dean right?
So-
No, but you agree with what Dean said, so that makes him right in your eyes. That doesn't mean that that's the end all be all. You've said
But yes,
how
it does.
shitty he is. So that
Yes, it
just
does.
automatically means that he's right because you agree with him here?
It's
Stop
it's
it,
not
stop
a
it,
subjective
stop it,
call.
stop
It is objective. There is the line of the football. You cannot be in the field of the football. It's not a did he maintain possession or not call. It's a did he
Okay,
cross
okay.
the plane?
Here's the thing. Apparently he did because the guys making
No,
that
he
call
didn't.
on the field
He fucking
said
did
was.
it.
So
It
go-
was
pull up
called
the
that
picture.
way.
Pull up
It
the
was
picture.
called that way
Pull up the pictures.
because he was
Pull up the-
because
pull
it's
up the
a
pictures
point of
yourself.
emphasis.
Talk about
Because
something
it's
else.
a point of emphasis.
This is the dumbest thing you've ever talked about.
I could list
don't
a few
know, Todd.
Todd. I think we've all
I don't
brought
know,
up that's
Todd.
been dumber than this.
I don't know,
Oh,
Todd. We
gosh.
spent a whole episode last year, 2 years ago, debating the vaccination status of Aaron Rodgers. That might be dumber than this.
I mean, he was immunized.
All right. Well, we've hit the halfway point of the show and the season. So let's hand out some
God, we are
halfway
over the halfway
mid-season
point right
point
now.
awards.
Oh,
Todd's at the breaking point. Let's so I like this idea that Jimmy brought up because we can go back and compare who's the MVP at this point in the season versus at the end. So let's start with that. Who is the MVP of this Packers team at the halfway point of the season? This, I think, is maybe the toughest question to answer for this team. Who is the MVP? I personally, I think you go with either Romeo Doubs or Aaron Jones. Personally, if you're going MVP, Romeo Doubs is clearly one of the, if not the top offensive threat right now. But Aaron Jones, I think you could make the case for that whole, call it the LeBron James side effect of it's clear how bad this team is without him. So when he is good, he makes this offense so much better. So I think you go either way with that. If I have to pick one, I'll go with Romeo Doubs because he's putting up the numbers.
Yeah, no, to go off that, I for Pack Report, shameless plug, did mid-seasons awards, and this is the only one I was going to keep the
Wait a
same
minute. So this is why Jimmy brought this up, so he could copy and paste the work he did for Packer Report.
Okay, you didn't listen to what I just said. This is the only one
I did hear what you said, but I was rolling over it for the joke. I was rolling over for the joke. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Aaron Jones has to be the MVP. Like, you saw how important he is to this team. Yes, he hasn't been on the field to be contributing every week, but we saw from week one, opening drive involved, scored. Second half, those big plays, that's when we started to pull away. That fourth down touchdown that ended up pulling his hammy on that to take him out games. But then now this Rams game, the offense, again, yes, there's struggles, but getting him involved, the touchdown or the touches, leading finally to a first half touchdown, almost 100 total yards. Like, Aaron Jones is the offense. We knew that going into the season. We know that right now. If you don't involve Aaron Jones, you're fucked with right now. There isn't enough talent on this team. The offensive line isn't good enough. You need Aaron Jones to be a focal point of this offense. So I think he has to be the MVP.
Todd?
You're both wrong. It's it's our best friend Kenny Clark. The most consistent part of this team has been the defense. Joe Barry's done a phenomenal job making sure that his defense is not putting points on the board. And Kenny Clark has been the most constant player on the field as a leader. You've had your linebackers have missed time, your safeties, Jaws missed time. I think prior to getting traded, Zool would have been in contention for that. Just the way that he, was kind of talking to some of the younger players, taking guys under his wing. But I think Kenny just being out there, just setting the tone for this defense and making sure that they're not letting teams score.
Can I ask a question? And this is a real question, so please give me a real answer. Is this
that sums up this whole show?
Is your extend Joe Barry thing? Do you really think he should stick around another year, or is this a bit?
If they're going to play like they did this week, yeah. Like, look at everybody that wasn't playing this week, and that defense. I know it was Brett Rippon. There's still playmakers on the Rams team, and this defense was still. They were flying around. They were making plays. They were stopping the run. Like, if this is the way this defense is going to show up week in and week out, absolutely yes. Joe Barry's your guy. But I know there was that one time that Preston Smith was on Devontae Adams, Dan, so we better fire him and everyone else on the staff. Because I'm going to bring
up old clips of you. I'm going to do this clip and then old clips of you yelling at me and Dan for
defending. No, you're not. You don't have the motivation, the time, or the focus to do this.
Correct. But I'm going to say I'm going to.
Todd could run for office right now. He is pulling the same play. I'm just gonna say whatever you want. No one's gonna fact check me on it because no one has the time to. It's gonna keep saying it.
I do think we could use. I honestly think offensive coordinator might be a bigger problem right now than defensive coordinator. I think just having the Stenovich hire was a panic hire, and I think that's biting us in the ass right now. Of not having someone there to kind of be close to Matt LaFleur's level, and he's juggling too many things to be able to boost up the stuff around him. But
Jimmy, you've been doing a really good job. Put yourself on mute. Grab that bag of candy. I know you want to. You keep looking at it.
All right.
Put yourself on mute. Give yourself a couple pieces. You've earned it.
Good job, Jimmy.
I could hear it move, and then he kept looking over at it.
Because I touched it, and I was like, is it going to be loud? Loud? And then I touched it. I was like, yeah, that's loud.
Todd, I will say about this. If they can come out and play as fired up as they did this past week, then yeah, I would consider it. I haven't seen that consistently enough yet from this team. If they show out the rest of this season playing with some level of fire like they had Sunday, yeah, I just haven't seen it yet. Let's go to most improved player for the season. I mean, personally, I think this one is pretty easy. I don't know what you guys think, but this is Quay Walker for me, hands down. I mean, there was you could argue, you can make the case that at the end of last season, his career sort of at a bit of a crossroad. You know, you've got a young player playing with a lot of energy, a lot of really he'll admit they were dumb mistakes that put himself in bad positions, put his team in bad positions. And, you know, a guy like that, a young guy like that in his first year, kind of feeling a little overwhelmed in the NFL, you can kind of go one or two ways. And so far this year, he seems to have picked, you know, a very good path for himself, his career, and then for the team as well, because he's a completely different player. He's playing with that same fire and that same energy, but it's contained. He looks like a veteran linebacker now, and he's not just acting like it. He's playing like it. He plays so much better. And you could see there was a couple plays where it looked like they were clearly targeting plays going over Devondre Campbell. And I'm like, I don't think they do that if Quay is there, because he has changed so much of how he plays coverage, how he plays the run. He's an all-star. And I think I just don't see anyone else on this team that has taken such a leap like Quay Walker has. I don't know.
I'm surprised you didn't go with John Runyon Jr. He's so good at lining up that's got to be just an absolute point of emphasis for you. That's shocking.
I knew the second you said, I'm surprised you didn't, was just a smart ass answer.
Well, it's always going to be.
Yeah, I started talking. What made you think I was going somewhere serious with that? I'm going to go with Zach Tom on this. I think, you know, we were all really high on this offensive line coming into the year, and boy, were we wrong. But I think Zach Tom's the one guy that's really lived up to the preseason hype and expectations that people had for him, and just an absolute difference that it makes with him out there. So I think at this point, most improved's got to be Zach Tom out there at right tackle.
Jimmy?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of taking on this one, but I think Devontae Wyatt definitely has to be in. I'm going to go with Devontae Wyatt. I think I read on Twitter today someone put he's fourth in pressure rate or pressures with first position. Like we've even said last year, like he should be on the field more. Obviously, with Todd's favorite Dean Lowry leaving, we knew there's going to be him and Slayton. We're going to have to step up and be on there. And Slayton is your run stopper. In my article, he was my most improved, and he has done really well. But I think even with Devontae Wyatt, like in the pass rush, we saw that motor the motor we saw last year has continued this year, adding more weapons to his repertoire. Fancy word for me. I think you have to. He's a big reason the defensive line is where it is right now. Like with Brooks and Wooden, they're good complementary pieces, but if you don't have those top three on the interior with Wyatt, Clark, and Slayton, like those two really aren't going to make much of an impact. So I'm going to give my most improved to Wyatt.
True North brings up this one in the chat about Carlson. I think if you want to argue about from where he was and the narrative around him in training camp and the preseason versus where he is now, that's a pretty big improvement.
We could even go A.J. Dillon with that. 3 weeks ago, A.J. Dillon to the last couple weeks, A.J. Dillon, big step up.
Yeah. Let's talk about the biggest surprise. I'll step aside for this one first. Jimmy, I'll let you go. I'll let you take this one.
Oh, I think I'm going to go offensive line just as a whole. You can even go David Bakhtiari. I didn't think it was going to be a one game. I'll go David Bakhtiari specifically. I didn't think that was going to be a one game and out for the whole year.
So you're saying biggest surprise, like in a bad way, like it surprises you badly.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
Yeah, some surprises aren't good, Dan.
Okay. That's true. That's true.
I think that's my biggest surprise. Just the expectation I had on him being the centerpiece to that offensive line, the veteran there, the leader in that group. And then we lose him after week one, after what seemed to be a great performance. He was in good spirits of the game, and then his knee just isn't right yet. So that's probably my biggest surprise so far of the year.
Yeah. Todd?
I'm going to go with the safety position. I don't know that they've been like really good or even just kind of good, but they haven't been the liability that I think a lot of people, myself included, were expecting them to be coming into the season, especially with the injuries that they've dealt with back there. I mean, you've got a 7th-round rookie and Simone Biles' husband starting at safety. and they played fine. Like, that's like, okay. So I think Rudy Ford's been playing at the best Rudy Ford can play. Savage hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to the safety.
Is that because we set the bar so low?
Probably.
Okay.
But again, I mean, there's not a lot of plays that happen against this defense that you go safety. That's on the safeties.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how many times have you jumped up off the couch with your Tinseltown, getting all hot and bothered about the safeties doing something wrong?
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, a play like that would negate anything happening in downtown Tinseltown.
You don't get
point remains valid.
Angry boners? That's not
rage boners? No, I don't. Sorry.
Lucky you.
That's why Todd and I are friends, just because I piss him off so much.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it a positive way away from that. And my biggest surprise has to be the MVP in my heart for this team this year, and that is Carl Brooks from the Bowling Green State University. And I say that not just because he's a fellow alum, he's a fellow Falcon. Falcons fly high. But I don't think anyone really expected the level of play that Carl Brooks has brought as a 4th, 5th round pick out of the MAC. Like he's playing. I think you could argue he's playing better than we ever saw Dean Lowry ever play. And he's a rookie. Like, he played better than any level of Dean Lowry. That's huge to have production like this come out of such a low pick. It's great, and I love to see a guy like that come in. And you're playing on a defensive line with Kenny Clark out of Iowa, Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. These are big names. Like they produce. BG doesn't do that, and Carl Brooks has proven it wrong. And I love Carl Brooks. Love you, buddy.
He's been good. He's been really good. Even this last week he was the one that drove the tackler guard right into the running back for that tackle for loss, which was beautiful. If you love him though, like same school and everything, get him on the show, Dan.
Yeah.
Drop the ball on Josh Meyer. This is your new project.
Let's wrap up the awards here with most disappointing player or
everything.
Yes.
Hello.
I don't know, man. I think I think if I have to go most disappointing player, there's a like Todd said. But maybe Elton Jenkins? Like maybe
really?
In terms
Oh yeah,
of
because I remember all the times that I've heard people say like that pressure's on Elton Jenkins.
it,
He
in
isn't allowed to
terms of-
sack
that-
when
in
he's
terms-
That,
in
that
terms
run
of
didn't
where
go anywhere
he's-
because of Elton Jenkins. He's playing next to Josh Myers for shit's sake.
and fucking Rasheed Walker.
Yeah, look.
Did you take him out or did he take himself out? 'Cause
He took him.
Either one's
I took
deserved.
myself out. I took
Yeah,
myself out. I took
That was
myself
the
out.
worst pick you could have done.
I'm talking about in terms of the level that he set for himself.
What do
I
you
feel like
again? What do you want him to do? He's playing next to two guys that don't know how to football. Like,
Okay, fine. It's
I'm
AJ Dillon.
befuddled.
Move on.
no, I
AJ
think
Dillon, move on.
you're great there. That's a good one. That's a solid pick for you.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Hold on, Dan? If you had to pick one on defense, who is it? Kenny?
No. Dick.
Is it Carl?
Kashawn Nixon.
That you're going to mine now. Nixon is actually my my most least impactful or disappointing in the nickel position. Not that great. Like he definitely is a liability in coverage. He'll make like a random tackle where you're like, "Oh, great job, Nixon." Return game hasn't really been there too much. There has, I don't know, like the contract we gave him, thankfully is only 1 year. He was incredible last year in the second half, especially again on the kick return, but I think the hopes for him to be a solid secondary position or piece and the return game, we haven't really seen it. Like he's not always back there for punts either. So I don't really know. I just, I definitely had higher hopes for him this year, and I just don't think he's really met, I think, a lot of fans' expectations.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to go with Christian Watson on this one. I think the second half that he put up last year had all of us convinced that he was the hands down number one receiver on this team, ready to take that step. And it hasn't been there. Flashes here and there. It was nice to actually see him go up and compete for a ball and then immediately get hurt.
That might be why he doesn't.
Well, there's ways to go up and fight for balls and not land on your back and shoulder and head.
I
So
felt bad, dude.
maybe a thing to think about there, but like, I'm not concerned that like he's not going to be a good player, but at this point, like, I think he might be more MVS than what we were hoping for.
I think he'll be a great number 2. I just don't think he's a number 1 guy.
It's fair.
Yeah. Breaking news, guys. SAG-AFTRA just ended their strike. So Hollywood's back, guys. Breaking news here.
I had no idea what
on the
what
podcast.
the hell you were talking about for a second.
Yeah.
The writer's strike?
This is the actor's strike. So
Actor's
everybody's back, baby.
Oh. What a day.
Great day. Great day for that's I don't know.
Hey, well, good news for the viewers of this. Our writers are about to come back. So
This content will go from a 2 to a 3.
All right. Do we want to get into some bar bets here, guys?
oh, sure, why the hell not?
To bring it up. All right. Let's get into
Quick update on that. Jimmy, do you know who's in last place?
It's not you.
It's not you.
It's not me.
Huh.
He's one person, I think.
Wow. And is it close?
I don't think so. I think that person's real fucking far behind.
And
How
I think
do you know
they
this?
fell back further because I hit last week. I hit good.
How do you know this?
Do you
Matt
not read the
texted us,
messages from
you
producer Matt?
Dumb
Matt
idiot.
did not text me.
Oh my gosh.
I hope it's a group chat that did.
I don't
I
think
know we're
I'm
both
on the
looking
group
right
chat.
away.
I don't think I'm on that group chat. I feel
Wow, you're in
I
it.
hope what group what are you talking about?
Yes,
hold on.
you're in it. Yes.
Oh,
You
I
have-
missed all of this.
You're having a rough night.
I missed all of this.
Go back to your Elton Jenkins take and then
I think I
He's
want
been
to
so disappointing.
at the risk
Did Dean Blandino tell you that he's been bad this year?
At the risk of opening myself up to the stereotypical joke from the show, I am challenging the results of these scores because Ummer, I think, accounted for a lot of Jimmy's success. And
Hey.
I feel like that should be separate.
All I gotta say is he is my hero in all this. We're joined at the hip right now. I'll give him the credit, but I'm not taking fucking last place. That's all.
I would just I would just like to see what the stats are separate.
I guarantee even the ones I did, I'm not fucking as far behind as you are.
Well, Dan,
I
if
would
that's
just
something you
like
want to
to
see, you
see
should
that.
say this at a time that maybe Matt's here and can actually. Because you're
Maybe
saying it
like
to
when
us.
he texted
We're
us
not
about
doing
it.
it. I don't have
I will-
access to the
I will
spreadsheet.
talk- I
And
will
even if I
talk-
did, I wouldn't look at
I
it.
will talk with Matt.
Get into the fucking bar bets. Let's go. I'm tired.
Aaron Jones, over under 15 carries.
Over 5
This week.
Bakhtiaris. Easy.
5 Bakhtiari's over.
I gotta start making up. You guys, you said that just to throw me off. I gotta start making up. Points here. 5 Bakhtiari's under.
This is how the hole just gets deeper and deeper.
Oh, I know. This is the gambler's ruin, baby. TJ Watt, over under 2.5 sacks this week. Jordan Love was sacked 4 times this past week against the Rams. TJ Watt has 9.5 sacks on the season, but 3 of those came in week 1. So that's a third of his sacks in 1 week. TJ Watt, over under 2.5 sacks. I'll start. I'm not afraid. I'll go 5 Bakhtiaris, and I'll say under. I think they keep him under 2.5 sacks. I think without Rasheed Walker on this offensive line, it's a much improved unit, and they keep TJ Watt under 2.5.
Well, Yosh was hurt. He didn't practice today, so it might be Walker. I still think under. I think if anything, they'll do quick passes, move around, extra help on that side, whatever side he's on. So I'll go under. To get 3 sacks against it, it's tough.
Just 2.5. Get 2.5.
2.5, or so if he hits 2.5, still.
Well,
counts.
no. Yeah, you're right. He has to get 3.
Okay. Yeah. So no, I'll go under.
Okay. How many Bakhtiaris?
5.
Okay.
Keep it
Todd?
up there. 5 Bakhtiari's under. 3 sacks is insane.
Okay. What if I put it at 1.5 sacks? Does that change your mind at all?
Maybe a little bit.
But not enough to.
I would do
Yeah,
over on
no,
that
yeah.
one, but I do like 2 Bakhtiaris.
Okay. Last one is pretty straightforward. Do the Packers win this week? I was doing a little digging. I'm sure this is probably in like the dope sheet or something else. It's not anything special, but the Packers have not won in Pittsburgh since 1970. The last time the Packers won in Pittsburgh.
Well, that was the last time Pittsburgh beat us in a Super Bowl. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ding, 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 ding. I'll say 5 Bakhtiaris, and I'll say yes. The Packers win. Call it a streak, baby. Packers win. 5 Bakhtiaris. And now you have to look unpatriotic by betting against the Packers to fuck me over. So, game on, bitches.
Yeah, I'm gonna go no. The Steelers are the kings of winning ugly games, and we're just the jesters in the area right now. So I'm gonna go no 3 Bakhtiaris.
I'm going to go no 5 Bakhtiaris. History's not on our side on this one. This team hasn't beat a mediocre team all season, so I don't think so.
Okay. Well, gang, here's to Dan getting back on the right side of things in the bar bets in the second half of the season. Because I've only ever played this game with the anticipation that I would never have to face any of the punishments that we've doled out to Jimmy and or Todd. But
It's gonna be way worse this year now that you're losing. It's gonna be actually going to the Capitol on January 6th. That's gonna be your punishment.
You kidding me? He's already got that trip planned. He wants to take Howie and
oh
show
my
him.
god, fuck, man! Now
This is where the guy with the horns was.
great. Now I know I need to schedule extra time off around the holidays. Great. For everybody joining us in chat, thank you so much for stopping by, hanging out with us. If you haven't done so, make sure you've subscribed on the YouTube channel so you get notified every time that one of our shows goes live here, including all of our weekly shows and our newest Monday show with Ummer and Bernie. Is it Bernie Bango? Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Bango?
Bernie Bango, Mondays,
Bernie Bango?
6:45
Coast
Central.
Packers.
To answer this question, yes, Carrington Valentine, I'm calling it right now. Not only does he get his first career pick this week, pick 6.
To the house. Are you wagering all of your Bakhtiaris on that, Todd?
Nope. You should have put that on the fucking sheet, Dan.
Hmm.
Instead of TJ Watt getting 3 sacks.
Next week's gonna be, does this player get 18 sacks?
For the birthday boy, Matt Pickett, taking a well-deserved break today. For everybody in the chat, for Jimmy, for Todd, every bartender, Dan Connick saying, cheers, everybody. And because Matt's not here, I don't have the outro ready to go, but now we do.
Just tell us how great of a human being Dean Blandino is and all the great
Dean
advice he's
Blandino
given you.
can suck it. Cheers, everyone. Go Pack.